an option. Let go of your own pride, quit relying upon your own quote-unquote intellect, and just learn from God. You seem to be wise in the world, you've got a whole bunch of degrees, nothing wrong with that, specifically. But there is if you won't listen to God and put God's wisdom first. He says, for the foolishness or the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Then again, and again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. In other words, useless or pointless or unproductive. This is all talking about the same thing. I mean, many times when we look at this passage, we pull this little verse out and we pull that little verse out, and all of that's to good. I mean, we talk about, being judged for works, even as a saved person, with the wood, hay, and stubble, being saved as though by fire. We can talk about that and preach about that, and that's good. And we also can talk about the fact that Paul planted and Apollos watered, and bring that into an evangelistic message, and say, hey, you don't know if you're taking, you're not going to take the gospel to the wrong address. You're going to do well if you give somebody the gospel, and then God uses that. We can bring all of those things out individually, but if you look at chapter number 3 in context, Paul is really just talking about one thing, and that is this message of the gospel, and how he's always ever done one thing. He's preached the gospel. He's preached Jesus Christ. He says that's the foundation we're building on. Doesn't matter who else it is. Doesn't matter if it's Apollos or somebody you've never heard of. If they're doing that, then that's gold, silver, and precious stones. If they're not doing that, it's wood, hay, and stubble. Let no man deceive you. It's not with the wisdom of men's words. It's with the simplicity of the gospel that men are saved. So it's an interesting chapter when you read it all in one context. Now, there's a warning here. Don't exalt human wisdom, and don't glory in man. Now, my pastor, Pastor Leon Gray, I've said this before. Maybe you've never heard it before, but my pastor, Leon Gray, he was a good man of God. I loved him, and he knew the Bible, and he loved to preach. And many times, and he had a lot of respect. There was a lot of men, a lot of younger men, a lot of younger pastors, dozens of them around the area that loved him and respected him and honored him as a man because he taught them. He may have been their pastor, or he may have been the one that taught them how to be a pastor, or they may have been sent out through Berean. And there have been many times, because I used to drive Pastor Gray sometimes to different preachers' meetings or a revival meeting. And some young pastor, in his innocence, would stand up there and start trying to give Pastor Gray a long and flowery introduction. This is Pastor Leon Gray, and he's trying to go down this. He says, this is a great man of God, and he taught me everything I know, and he's pastored this church for this many years and sent out this many missions. All of it was probably true, but Pastor Gray wouldn't stand for it. He did not want the applause of men. So the minute somebody stood up and started to introduce Brother Gray, Pastor Gray, if they heard one of those flowery introductions, Pastor Gray would just, I can see him in my mind's eye.